Hey guys, I'm back. Sorry I took a little breather. I was sick for a few weeks, as you can tell my raspy voice here. But this is a project I picked up off of a curb, and I started by taking off all the hinges and removing the doors. Then I'm going to take all the wood pieces off on the top because I'm actually going to use a different type of wood, and I'm just going to use a clear coat on it, so I want that wood to really pop. So then I'm just taking the crowbar and putting it in between there, smashing the hammer on it to make all of the nails pop off. And it turns out in this one there were some pretty big screws in it too, so I had to actually do a little more damage than I had anticipated. But I got it off. A little bit of elbow grease and my hammer and crowbar. Then I'm just going to start sanding the entire thing, getting it ready for paint, because I'm actually going to paint it a green color. I figure kind of like an army green. So I'm just trying to sand off as much as I can. I don't want to go too deep. And it revealed a ton of knots on this project that I was not really expecting. But then I'm going to sand the front, make sure I get it pretty good, and I just, again, want to make it kind of rough it up a little bit so the paint sticks a little bit easier. Then I went and drilled some holes because the two drawers on the bottom, the piece of wood that goes between the two, was a little bit broken, so I had to fix it a little bit. So I drilled some holes in the front of it and then put some screws in it. I also did it with the back as well, just to make sure it was really secure. Then I started priming it, once again, because there were a lot of knots in this. I wanted to primer it and make sure that we could, give it a little more cover once I put the paint on. So I'm just doing a half lap with the spray gun, the HVLP. I'm going to get the front. I'm also going to get the insides as well, which was pretty large. So it took a little bit of time, but just make sure you get every little nook and cranny. And then again with this side as well. Then I started spraying the doors with a primer. Again, making sure you get into the raised panel. Make sure you cover everything to prep for paint. So then after, there was a lot of work on this that I had to do. The back of the plywood on this piece was kind of separating from the sides, so I just went ahead and bondoed pretty much all the way down just to make it a cleaner look. And then also there were a lot of nicks on this, so this took a lot of bondo, as most of my projects do. You can see my dog Finn there, just being a good boy. Then, bondoing the doors and just making sure I try to get everything as best I can. So then for this one, I wanted to add a little detail to the doors. So on one panel, I actually made my own little pieces of wood and just glued them on and then stapled them and kind of made a cool effect, a little more dramatic and detail to it. And it turned out amazingly, I have to say. So just, again, gluing every single one, nailing them on top and bottom, just to make sure that they are secure. This is a pretty tedious project, but most of mine are. I forgot to tell you guys that I actually flipped the doors. So the ones that were on the inside has just the shaker panel, and the raised panel is now on the inside, just so I could do this and give it a little more detail. And I actually have a surprise for the inside, and you will see it later. So now coming up to the end of this one panel, just to kind of show you just how much detail it actually gives, just that one little panel. It actually turned out really great. Then there were a couple of nails that were sticking out, so I went and took my little nail tool and make sure to punch those all in. Then I primed the top.
Now what?
So here I'm just sanding off all the Bondo that I put everywhere, making sure that it is very, very flat. Now I'm doing my first coat of the green paint, and this is a color I actually made myself. It is black, and it's that they're like kind of pastel-y green color. I was kind of going for more of a camo, but it turned out to be a little bit lighter than I wanted, but I actually think it'll go a little bit better with the type of wood that we're going to use for the top and for the legs that I'm making for this. So now I'm going to spray the two drawers that I have.
So right now I'm putting glue on the joint, any cut, so that the tree or the wood can absorb it. That way if you put it on right now, the glue, the joint won't hold because all the wood takes in the glue. So you want to wait 5 minutes and then come back and add more glue, because then that glue, the second round, will be on the joint. I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes. Take a look at the ends. As you can see, it's soaked, the wood has soaked up a lot of the glue. This is what we call priming the wood. Got my glue bot here. I'm gonna add some more. I use Type Bond 3. It is by far the best glue, in my opinion, and everyone else's. And now we are ready to do the other side and then assemble it to the furniture. Okay, so now I am just going to line up my piece. And then nail it. Line up this side. And nail it. Okay, so now what I'm doing, that we've attached that, there's a little glue coming out. I'm gonna sand this because any sawdust will get into all the grooves with the glue and make it just really crisp. Okay, so this is a leg I made from some white oak that I had. It's a little bit tapered. I decided to make these because this just sat flat on the ground and looked a little weird. So I just wanted to add a little something. So I'm going to put glue on 3 sides, the back. A little bit of a mess. That's all right. Now that I got glue everywhere, I'm going to take my clamp. I'm going to put it like that. And tighten. Clean up all this glue.
So here is the finished product. I used the original little pull handles for the 2 drawers. I used white oak at the top and the bottom just for a little extra color, I think. And then I got these really cool gun knobs at Hobby Lobby, which I had to use them on something. So this was it. I also, on the inside, used chalkboard paint so we could draw stuff, write notes. When my kids come to the shop, they can, make some art as well. But here it is. I hope you guys like it. Please like and subscribe and tell me what you think in the comments. I can't wait to hear what you think.